Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to NWA Power, when we'll see all the fallout from NWA Paranoia. Bishop Dyer did defend his championship against Hiromu Takahashi. Colby Corino did defeat the man that cost him an opportunity at the NWA World Championship in Mike Mondo. So we'll see how both Corino and Dyer respond to their victories at NWA Paranoia tonight, here on NWA Power. So our first episode of NWA Power opens up with Bishop Dyer. He says that he's defeated everybody that the NWA has put in front of him, and he doesn't think he should be able to defend his title at NWA Global Strike, which will be our next event. He is interrupted by both Colby Corino and Rob Van Dam as they come out to lay one last challenge to Bishop Dyer. We'll see if he accepts in the coming episodes of NWA Power. Our first match of these tapings of NWA Power sees Alex Taylor defeat Bestia in about 7.5 minutes with a fast roll-up. Again, a good win for Alex Taylor, coming off the loss at NWA Paranoia to Silas Mason and Vic. Him and Kerry Morton did lose to Silas Mason and Vic for the NWA United States Tag Team Championships. Again, and Silas Mason is still a member of the Disciples of Sin. We then have EC3. He's backstage. He returned to NWA Paranoia. He says he wants Spencer Slade to himself. He doesn't care what he has to do, but he wants him one-on-one. He'll go through anyone as long as he gets to Spencer Slade. We'll then go to our next match as the team of Yuka Sakazaki and Emi Sakura defeat the team of Allison Kay and Kenzie Page when Yuka Sakazaki pins the NWA World Women's Champion Kenzie Page with another fast roll-up. During the match, we see Kylie Page come in and attack Allison Kay, but Yuka Sakazaki has pinned Kenzie Page, surely earning herself a shot at Kenzie at NWA Global Strike. After this, we go backstage with Ortiz saying how he's the most dominant NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion there's ever been. But TJP interrupts his interview. He says he's not done with him. He wants one more shot to win back his belt, and he wants it next week right here on NWA Power. After this, also backstage, we see Matt Lee. He says that the NWA, just like his former employers, are already underappreciating him, and he'll make sure both Billy Corgan and Mark Henry know his true worth. We'll then go to our main event of the evening, this first main event of our tapings, which sees the Disciples of Sin, Bishop Dyer and Maxine Paler, defeat Colby Corino and Oliver Carter when Bishop Dyer pins Oliver Carter. We also, in the match, saw Silas Mason, again a member of Disciples of Sin, run in and attack Colby Corino. Is he working with James Mitchell? Did James Mitchell order this attack? Or is Silas Mason going out on his own? We'll have to see in future episodes of NWA Power why Silas Mason has attacked Colby Corino today. But it does get a good 62 rating, and that is our main event of the show. We'll see what final rating the show got, then we'll move on to our second taping. Overall, the show gets a 59, which is okay. It increased our popularity in 31 regions. Again, good show, again marred by production values once again, but a strong first taping for NWA Power. So now I'll see you in our second taping of NWA Power. This second taping of NWA Power opens up with a match for the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Championship as Ortiz makes his second defense against TJP. This is the decisive match between the two. It ends the storyline between them, and it means that Ortiz will continue to be the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion. We'll have to see where this leaves TJP as he continues on here in the NWA. In our next segment, EC3 is walking backstage until he meets Simon Diamond. He says that if EC3 wants to face Spencer Slade at NWA Global Strike, then he'll have to find a tag partner next week, and they'll go through BK Westbrook and Jeremiah Plunkett, the other two members of the Diamonds in the Rough. If they manage to win, then EC3 will get his match against Spencer Slade at NWA Global Strike. In our next promo, Mike Mondo, he's back after NWA Paranoia. This is the first time we've seen him since that show. He says he's going to prove just how good he is next week. The loss against Colby Corino was just a fluke, but he's going to prove just how good he still is next week. Once again, in another segment, Alex Taylor and Kerry Morton are in their clubhouse. They're still wondering why Silas has turned his back on them, until Bully Ray comes into the clubhouse. He says he likes the boys, but they are missing a leader. They could join him, Bojack and Marsh Rockette and become better than they've ever been. They'll definitely win the NWA US Tag Team Championships if they're under his tutelage. All they need to do is think about it and accept his offer. He will give them until NWA Global Strike to give him an answer. In our next segment, Colby Corino comes out to the ring with RVD. He wants to know why Silas Mason has cost him his match last week. Was he just doing what James Mitchell has said? Is James Mitchell behind all of this? And speaking of James Mitchell, he then comes out to the ramp. He says he hasn't spoken to Silas since NWA Paranoia. In fact, he didn't even know he was in the building last week. But he's sure glad he was. Again, this has given us no answers as to why Silas Mason attacked Colby Corino last week, as Father James Mitchell doesn't even know why. He isn't the one that ordered it. Silas Mason seems to be acting on his own accord. So we'll see if Silas Mason will tell the world why he attacked Colby Corino. In our next segment, once again, Kenzie is backstage with Alison Kay. She says that Sakazaki's win last week was just a fluke, and it doesn't mean she's earned another shot at her. This is when Kylie Page runs into the shop but doesn't attack Kenzie. Instead, she goes straight for Alison Kay. Kenzie manages to pull Kylie off, and both her and Alison Kay manage to flee from the scene, but Kylie grabs a mic. She says that the NWA Global Strike, she'll let Yuka Sakazaki take the NWA Women's Championship off Kenzie Page, as she only has eyes for Alison Kay in a street fight. And in our main event of the evening, Matt Lee defeats both Colby Corino and Hiromu Takahashi in just over 15 minutes when he pins Hiromu with an elbow drop. Also during the match, we once again see Silas Mason come in and attack Colby Corino, costing him the match one more time. Again, we don't know why Silas Mason is doing this. He's not acting on the orders of Father James Mitchell, as we saw earlier in the show. So we have no idea why Silas Mason is attacking Colby Corino. All we know is that it's cost him 2 matches in a row now. And next, or the overall rating for NWA Power, our second taping, gets a 55, a little bit worse than our first taping, but still a good overall. Again, increases our popularity in 31 regions. There was only 2 matches on this show compared to a lot of other segments, but they were 2 quite big matches that have huge ramifications for future episodes of NWA Power. That's for now. I'll see you at our 3rd episode of NWA Power of these tapings. Our 3rd episode of NWA Power opens up with a tag team match between EC3 and Weber Hatfield as they defeat the Diamonds in the Rough of BK Westbrook and Jeremiah Plunkett. This means that EC3 has earned his shot against Spencer Slade at NWA Global Strike, as put out by Simon Diamond in the last episode. So he'll be now facing Spencer Slade in whatever match he wants at NWA Global Strike. In our next segment, a 36 rated segment, Alex Taylor and Kerry Morton are walking down the street discussing what Bully Ray has said to them. They walk past Titus and the Slimeballs, who are losing at chess to some local pensioners. The slime balls see Taylor and Morton, they hear what they're talking about, and they suddenly shove the pensioners out of the way, spilling chess pieces everywhere. They run up to Taylor and Morton, and they say not to trust Bully Ray. If he was trying to help, he wouldn't be called Bully Ray. He's called Bully for a reason. If he was really trying to help them, he'd be called Helpful Ray. Taylor and Morton look very confused at each other, and they slowly start to walk away from the slime balls. In our next segment, we go back to the arena where Allysin Kay and Kenzie Page are both backstage. Allysin Kay says that she accepts Kylie Page's challenge for NWA Global Strike, so it will now be Kay against Kylie in a street fight at NWA Global Strike. However, Kenzie Page does not accept the challenge of Yuka Sakazaki. She says she'll have to earn her shot one more time, as she says that there'll be a #1 contenders match between Yuka Sakazaki and Emi Sakura next week right here on NWA Power. In our next segment, we finally hear from Silas, but he is backstage holding a bloody and beaten Rob Van Dam. He throws him on the floor, and he says the real reason he attacked Colby Corino is because he wants his shot. Silas and Dyer have an understanding. If Silas earns his shot, he'll take on Dyer for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. He wants to add the NWA title to his collection, to his NWA National Heavyweight Championship and his United States Tag Team Championships. He's a glutton for gold, and he wants as much as he can get. In our next match, we see the debut of Chris Brooks as he unfortunately loses to Mike Mondo. A good 54 rated match. A good performance from Mike Mondo, who's trying to rebuild his momentum after the loss to Colby Corino at NWA Paranoia, and a great way to pin Chris Brooks. So a very good match here, 54 rating, and it does give Mike Mondo a little bit more momentum. But we now move to our main event match of the evening. In our main event, we see a #1 contenders match for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. It is a 5-way, and it is won by TJP. He defeats Colby Corino, Matt Lee, Maxine Paler, and Silas Mason when he pins Maxine Paler with a fast roll-up. Again, a really good match here, a 60 rated match, but it does mean that TJP is the new #1 contender for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. Again, Matt Lee did win the match last week to gain some momentum for this match, but he seems to fall at the final hurdle once again. But after the match, Matt Lee attacks TJP. He goes outside the ring and grabs a chair, but he is stopped by Bishop Dyer. Dyer says that TJP has earned his shot for NWA Global Strike, but if Matt Lee wants a shot so bad, he'll happily take them both on at Global Strike. So we have our NWA World's Heavyweight Championship match set for NWA Global Strike, as will be Bishop Dyer taking on Matt Lee and TJP. So we'll finish the show and see what rating we get. This show does get one rating worse than the last show, as it gets a 54. Again, the shows are getting slightly progressively worse, but it does once again increase our popularity in 31 regions. Hopefully we'll be making money soon enough so we can able to increase those production values. But now we'll move on to our final taping of NWA Power. So our third taping of NWA Power opens up with EC3 in the ring. He says he's earned his shot against Spencer Slade, and he wants him in a submission match at NWA Global Strike. Suddenly Spencer Slade appears from the crowd. He slides into the ring and goes to attack EC3 from behind. But EC3 manages to duck his strike just before he's about to hit, and he lights him up, eventually clearing him from the ring. Spencer Slade looks furious, but Simon Diamond manages to pull him away before he can get back in the ring, and EC3 considers his challenge accepted. In our first match of this final taping, Emi Sakura and Yuka Sakazaki go to a draw after they have a double pinfall. Again, a really good match, a 57 match. Emi Sakura getting a 52, Yuka Sakazaki getting a 59. Two really good wrestlers here, but they wrestle to a draw. This match was for a shot at the NWA World Women's Championship, so we'll see what happens next. After the match, Kenzie Page jumps into the ring and attacks both Emi Sakura and Yuka Sakazaki as they plead officials to restart the match. Mark Henry comes out and says that if Kenzie doesn't want to play fair, then that's absolutely fine, as she now finds herself in a three-way match at NWA Global Strike as she'll defend her NWA World Women's Championship, not only against Yuka Sakazaki, but also against Emi Sakura. In our second match of the night, Oddinson defeats Dylan McKay with an F10 in just over 7 minutes. Again, it is a good way to get both of these guys on the show. Oddinson doing really well with a 51, Dylan McKay doing quite well with a 37. But Oddinson is back in the winners column and rebuilding his momentum. After this, we see the Southern Six driving down the highway. They say they're going to go to an expert on advice on the Bully Ray's offer, and they're on their way to see him now. As the camera pans out from the car into the street, they drive past a sign that says, "Welcome to Dudleyville." When we return to NWA Power, we are at our main event as the Disciples of Sin, being Silas Mason, Bishop Dyer and Max the Impaler, defeat the team of Colby Carino, TJP and Oliver Carter, when Silas Mason pins Oliver Carter. Again, we also saw Matt Lee run in during the match and attack both TJP and Bishop Dyer, but it does get a 55 rating, so not the best match, but again, not the worst, but a really good way to end these tapings. TJP does sustain a cracked tailbone, so we'll have to see if that affects him going in to NWA Global Strike. But the show is not over yet, as Matt Lee beats everybody in the ring down with a steel chair, especially focusing on Bishop Dyer and TJP. He then poses with the NWA World Heavyweight Championship that is taken from Bishop Dyer and walks out of the arena with the belt. So going into an NWA Global Strike, Bishop Dyer, who is the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, does not have possession of his own belt, as Matt Lee has taken it from him. So we end our tapings of NWA Power with an overall rating of 52. Again, the shows did get progressively worse as we went through, from a 59 to a 55 to a 54, now to a 52, but we still increased popularity in 31 regions. We will go to the post-show screen to see what popularity we did in fact increase. So we'll look at our injury review first to see how long TJP may be out for. It is only 30 days, so he still will be available for NWA Global Strike, but he will be hampered by injury somewhat. I imagine he will still work the show. Again, whether or not that match will now be the main event is yet to be decided. But now we'll look at our financial report. I imagine we have lost quite a bit of money on this show, but we'll recoup it through the month. We did lose $13,000, but again, like I said, we'll recoup this throughout the month, and our event on the last show of the month will probably make us quite a decent amount of money. If we look at our popularity recap, we do grow in quite a few areas. We go from around 43s to 35s in areas of the USA, up to 23s in Mexico, up to, again, 1 or 2 popularity points in the UK, and up 1 or 2 in Japan also. Funnily enough, no growth in Canada though. Again, really good growth here. We are slowly growing the company. But instead of going back to the home screen now, I will end the episode here. Again, in our next show, we'll be seeing NWA Global Strike, where we'll see Bishop Dyer defend against Matt Lee and TJP. We will see Colby Carino take on Silas Mason. We'll see EC3 take on Spencer Slade. Kenzie Page will defend NWA World Women's Championship against Emi Sakura and Yuka Sakazaki. And we'll see Kylie Page take on Allison Kay in a street fight. Again, there will be all of this and more on our next episode at NWA Global Strike. Once again, thank you very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you do want to see more of this. If there's any wrestlers you do want to see in the series, make sure to leave them down in the comments below. But again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you at NWA Global Strike.